I understand there's different types of services that you do offer, Mrs. Fernando. Can you tell us a bit about, I understand there are shelters as well.
Yes.
If you could just get
Talking
into
about
detail
protection,
protection is important. So we have to keep her in the shelter. Women in need has 2 shelters.
Right.
One in Colombo and one in Matara. State has 1 or 2, and there's another organization in Kandy which has a safe house, shelter. Other than that, this is something lacking in the system, because when you are thrown out dead of the night, you have no place to go. Some women spend the night in the police station. Sometimes you are subject to again
abuse behind the police station. That's not new. I've heard that before.
That is true.
So that is one thing. Then another thing is when you are devastated, somebody should, because most of the women self-blame. They say it happened due to my fault, or I haven't cooked the meal properly, I haven't kept the house properly, I have not looked after the children, they are dirty, something like that. So she blames herself. So
it's important to highlight that it does happen in society, but there are services being provided. And Jason, we unfortunately have run out of time. So
I think I should tell you, because they should be referred for counseling. I think counseling is important, because you have to give reassurance, and all the services should be non-judgmental, and it should be supportive but non-judgmental. Then you can refer them for referrals. Legal services is the last thing. So legal, we provide all those services free of charge.
In Women in Need. Thank you so much for being here, Ms. Fernando, Dr. Tennecoon. We learned a lot and we discussed a lot. Right now we have another guest, very special guest coming up after the break.
Now, if you want to find out more information about this cause, so this is 16 days of trying to cancel this horrible thing in this world out. We're trying to cast this out. If you need help, if you want to get to know more about how you can help as well, you can contact them on their hotline, which is 011-471-8585. That's 011-471-8585. If you also need to find more information, if you missed out on a number, you can email us at mtvsports@maharaja.ok.
Thank you so much for being here. We've unfortunately run out of time, but we hope to see you soon again and discuss more details with you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Ram. It's been such a pleasure.
After the break, we have Professor Arjuna De Silva coming up talking about sports and special enhancing drugs. So don't go away. We will be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. In case you missed out on today's show, on the early start of the show, you can check us out on YouTube on www.youtube.com/MTV Sports. That's all you got to do. Anyways, now we're taking a quick turn onto sports-related news.
Which we were talking yesterday as well.
Yes.
Remember? All right.
I just found out that now, obviously, everyone's heard of the Lance Armstrong scenario with drugs.
Yes.
And Sundance Film Festival has just received a film where a filmmaker has just followed him for 6 years now and released a film based on that footage. And well, I just thought I'd let you know that because it's interesting. And linking it to that today, our guest to speak about supplements, etc. We have Professor Arjuna De Silva, who's the Director of General Sports Medicine. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. All right, so obviously we're here to speak about performance-enhancing drugs.
Right.
What are they exactly?
Performance-enhancing drugs are sort of I think the name is self-explanatory. It enhances your performance.
Right.
So the question is, most of the drugs have been banned.
Right.
Because they are, they could be banned in competition, they could be banned out of competition. But if you go back to, the Olympic, the original Olympic Games, which was in Greece.
Yeah.
So even at that time, they competed only for olive branch, olive laurel wreath actually, and they competed nude to show that they had nothing to hide. They were all equal, all that. So that was the ideas there. So because of that, leave aside. So one thing is about cheating and winning, because the whole idea is that there are athletes who are clean, majority, and they don't use performance enhancing drugs, you can enhance your performance through training. That is legal. That's fine. And through technology, that's not banned. But using performance enhancing substances, and we'll talk about gene doping as well. It's coming in. So those have been banned. So that's one thing. Then the other issue is that it's bad for the athlete's health as well. So there are two things. It's cheating and it's bad for your health.
So how does it affect the athlete badly though? What exactly does
Why
it do
is it
to
a
your
negative
body?
impact on the athlete?
You mean health-wise?
Yes.
Yes. Well, there again it will depend on the substance that's used. For instance, if you use, you talk about Lance Armstrong.
We'll go with that.
So we all know that Lance Armstrong, I mean, as a person, as an athlete, he's fantastic. But it was, he showed that he had feet of clay and he let down millions of people. He did have testicular cancer. So one side effect of using steroids is testicular cancer. And it's interesting that Lance Armstrong was clean after he got cancer. He stopped using drugs. I mean, he would have known that may have been, we can't say 100% that was the reason, but that it's definitely known to cause. And Armstrong was typical American. I happened to meet the guy who actually went after Armstrong. And it's in the US Anti-Doping Agency head called Tiger. And he is a very persistent guy. He went after Armstrong for so many years. I mean, he didn't Armstrong was actually bigger than the sport at that point, but he didn't. He just went at him, and Armstrong had his own team of scientists who actually who were developing designer drugs, and anything that was released to the market, Armstrong got it first before it's released to the market. And he checked his blood regularly. He used every systematic thing. I mean, there is something called a prohibited method. That's not a drug, but it's called blood doping, where you take your blood out and then your body produces more blood, and then just before an event you put your own blood in, so it's very difficult to detect that. So he was doing that. He was using something called EPO, erythropoietin. He was using testosterone, which is anabolic steroid. He was, you name it, growth hormone he was using, you name it, he was using it.
That's insane.
And that's called blood doping?
Yes.
It's quite interesting.
What I've also heard that athletes tend to use, or even people that go to the gym, they use some supplements. What are supplements exactly?
Supplements are my pet hate. For the simple, there's a lot of evidence even now that if you take the US, the commonest cause for one of the commonest cause for liver problems is supplements. When you say supplements, it's a very, very broad term. So you get pure whey protein, which is very rare, but I mean, you always add something to it. So generally when you look at the name of a supplement, if it comes, I don't want to say the name because you're on TV.
Good call.
But from the name you can judge that this is not going to be a pure whey protein. This has to have something inside. And if it actually increases your performance, most likely it's going to be having something banned. Because otherwise protein is protein, however you take it. And it's better to take it naturally than in a synthetic form. That's the number one thing. And these things also have a lot of stuff, it can get contaminated with the banned substance. That's one way. Other way, there is so many things that are not on the label, and there is so many kids who are using supplements, even in Sri Lanka. So that's a definite no-no, because they don't need that. And you can get kidney damage, I said liver damage, so many issues for supplements. I'm not saying not be scientific, by all means you have to be scientific.
Yeah.
So you go to a dietitian, right? You go with your workout, you tell what your calorie requirement is, what your protein requirement is, tailor make your diet, and then you do that. That's fine.
Okay.
But don't just go and take a scoop or something and just because it looks good. Yeah. So be scientific, and be smart.
You mentioned that kids use supplements as well.
Yes.
Even in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Why do you think the reason for that is? Because I'm sure it's not essential for their system. For their
well, it's common knowledge that if you take some of the leading schools playing rugby, they spend 15, 16 million, some schools 20 million a year for their rugby budget. No, this is not from the school, it's from old boys and stuff.
True.
Out of that 20 million, we'll say about 4 or 5 million is spent on supplements.
Wow.
It's quite revealing. So I mean, they don't need that. What they need is proper nutrition assessment and proper nutrition.
Right. Another performance enhancing drug would also be steroids.
Yes.
If I'm correct.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, everyone that's seen movies would tell you that steroids makes you angry. I'm guessing.
Yes.
Mad, like the heart.
Yes.
But let's hear from the professor what steroids are exactly and how they affect your body.
Yeah. Well, when you're talking about steroids, you're talking about anabolic steroids. The main benefit of steroids is that they help you build muscle mass fast.
Okay.
So that's the action. So they also, the word anabolic means it's sort of male. So if a female takes that, she will become more masculine.
Right.
She may grow a beard, she may get more hairy.
Scary.
There were, before Germany was united, you could see the East German swimmers. Sometimes you need a gender test to decide whether they're male or female.
Right.
So at that time they were definitely using that. But you can see how the swimmers have become changed, because now you can't get away with using steroids in swimming. Definitely there is a benefit in bodybuilding, professional bodybuilding. Most of the people were using that, but we are talking about other sports, weightlifting, even athletics. Ben Johnson is a typical example. So the side effects are, as I said, it can affect your liver. If you take the immediate side effects, yes, you become more aggressive. That's true. That's part of the. I suppose in a sport it would be useful. Then you can get liver problems. You can get liver tumors. Again, you can get testicular tumor. You can even, if it's a male, you can be subfertile. The sperm count can go down. So you may not be able to have children. So there's so many side effects, but definitely it does work. That's why it's so steroids are banned in competition or out of competition. There is the difference is certain drugs, for instance alcohol, is banned in certain sports in competition. Then certain stimulants which are found in supplements called methylhexamine, that is banned only in competition. But the difference is it's a very fine line where training ends and where competition begins. Because you can be tested at any time and the drug can still be in your
system.
In your system.
True. Okay, on that note, we have to go for a commercial break right now, but more details with Professor Arjun De Silva right after this.